started?
I think it started.
Cool.
Awesome. How's it going, George?
Pretty good.
Well, change the venue again, right?
Yeah, so we're currently at Dolores Park, just hanging out with some friends. Our good friends Emily and Ringo's in town. And yeah, we just wanted to keep on cranking out some content, you know, like make it more of like a weekly thing. Last week we talked about like dragon slaying, right? Like facing our fears, using kind of our fears as a more like a compass of things that that we should actually like. We should use our fears as compasses to. Sorry, I'm not used to talking in public.
I know. I mean, this is kind of like slaying our dragons in a way, isn't it? Yeah, because we're doing this now in a public situation.
Yeah, usually we're like
in a car.
In a car.
Yeah, it's usually a lot different than this.
Yeah, and right now there's literally like 100,000, just not 100,000.
There's a couple hundred people here.
There's a couple hundred, tens of hundreds, tens and tens of people here, but no one's really paying attention. But in my mind, I'm like, holy shit, there's a lot of people. Because if I look like individually at people, like no one actually gives a fuck. Like,
yeah.
Okay, let's start over. But like, let's continue.
Let's continue then.
Okay, so we talked about conquering our fears, and it kind of relates back to the topic at this time, right, Ryan? Of like ego. And do you want to start by like what you think ego is and how it kind of gets in the way of your day-to-day life?
I guess my interpretation of ego is that it's this thing that you hold yourself to very highly. Actually, I don't know. That's what I was going to ask you earlier, which is how do you describe ego?
Right, so
I know there's like a psychological terminology like that, and then there's like a social explanation of what ego is. So I think you should paint the picture for us.
I don't know. The way I see ego is like the way it's like you have different selves, right? One person, like the one part of yourself is like cares about your image and your reputation and how people perceive you.
Yeah.
So that's what I associate ego with. Is like how other people perceive me and how I want to be perceived. You know. And so the reason I kind of wanted to talk about this week is because it's such a I just like observing kind of myself in the last couple of like weeks and kind of just like looking back at the past. Like I feel like a lot of decisions that I've made were because of ego. Like for example, like there's reality and then there's your ego making some not decisions for you but like giving you a false reality. So say like we're at a restaurant right now, right? And my ego thinks that I can 4 plates of Korean barbecue.
Is it because you're eating with someone else?
No, it could be, yeah, exactly. So like I want, for example, if I'm eating with like someone I care about or someone I want, like someone whose opinion I care about, like I may act a certain way because I care about their opinion, and that's my ego acting that way and telling me to do something because I really care. Like for example, like going back to Korean barbecue, right? So say I'm like eating with, I don't know if a girl cares about me eating a lot, but
like with a bunch of dudes and like you want to prove yourself.
Sure,
like,
I want to prove myself. It's like, all right,
drinking.
Yeah, drinking's a really good one.
Okay, so went from Korean barbecue to drinking.
Huh?
So went from Korean barbecue to drinking.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of more like example that's more
relatable.
Like, yeah, for me at least. Like, I think in reality I'm actually a lightweight, but my ego is a heavyweight.
Yeah.
As a result, I get fucked up and like I get fucked up a lot, and it's because my ego says keep on drinking, like you're the shit, like like you should
tickle your ego.
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, I can do it, but in reality I'm like inside I'm like blacking out already, but I don't even know it because my ego tells me to keep on going, like stuff like that.
I think I was kind of like that this last weekend too. I mean, we went out to go get a couple drinks. I went out to a concert last night.
Yeah. And
I'm really sick right now, but I still drank through all of that.
Right.
Because I felt like, fuck it, like I can just do it.
Yeah.
Even though, like in reality, that probably wasn't the smartest idea.
Right.
But it was like I needed to prove something to myself that, like, fuck it, like I'm not a bitch, you know.
Like,
Mama ain't raised no bitch, you know. That sort of theory.
Exactly, like that's an ego mentality that really can get you in trouble sometimes, right? Because like there's like what you should do and there's what you want to do, and those are two different things. Like one thing, like you want to, like for example, like you want to buy a really nice car, but can you afford it? Your ego wants you to buy that car. You're like, yo, Ryan, that's a really nice car. You got this. You can afford it.
Yeah.
But in reality, like if you can't pay for it, you just can't pay for it. And I think like sometimes it's hard accepting different realities, and like being grounded and kind of like getting rid of that voice inside your head. Like for you, are there any examples in your day-to-day where it kind of affects your decision making, and as a result you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing, but some voice inside of your head just saying like, hey Ryan, go ahead and do it, it'll make you look cool, people will think this way of you if you go do that?
I definitely think there's a lot of situations like that, but I think I wanted to better clarify this topic of yours, because like I think ego to me, that I was thinking about it, is like you're almost like not honest to yourself, because like it's this ideal picture that you think about yourself. So like in your situation, right, it's like, oh fuck, I can drink all this, but in reality you can't.
Yeah.
But you try to live up to this false image. But like I get that that's also not good, but sometimes isn't there also the saying that you want to have higher expectations, and then you try your best to get to that level? Maybe ego is good in different degrees, right? Like if I had no like ego and like, damn, like I'm the fucking boss, like I can kill it at this job, then it's like you're not really gonna get anywhere because you don't really have that right mindset.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to drinking, like maybe like ego doesn't really matter as much. So it's like egos in relation to values or different things in life.
Okay.
I think that's where it becomes a little bit more relative.
Yeah.
But I guess in my situation, I think the example I gave you yesterday was like drinking. Car is like another big one, right? Like I'm always looking at like the next Lamborghini, the next Ferrari, like all these cars that I wish I could afford, but I can't yet today.
Okay.
But like I think like when I get that car, like I feel like my self-image is going to go up like 10x. But is it really worth all the grit that I'm going through today? And like, is that actually going to be true?
Okay.
Probably not. It's just this false ego that I'm stroking.
Yeah.
So no, I definitely think it complicates a lot of things in life. It basically, I think ego leads you down a good path sometimes, and then like I said earlier, a bad path, right?
Yeah.
So the bad path here is like it's making me like have all these materialistic needs of like having a nice car, all that shit, and that's not necessarily good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it seems like there is a place for ego to come and play, right? Like it seems like what are some like ways that ego can be helpful?
Well, the example I gave was the career side, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're at a job.
Like confidence,
yeah. Because you expect something better out of yourself, and you try to live up to that. And like I said, it's like situational, right? You don't need to do that for drinking, but like if it's career-wise, if it's like I have the ego that like I'm a really good person, or like, well, that's not really an ego though. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I'm still like very confused about the word ego because I've heard it explained in so many different terminologies.
Yeah.
That like I don't know how to bring it in this context.
So, yeah, I know what you're saying.
But I guess my question to you is, why is this now? You said this is now a topic because you felt like last weekend you were drinking a lot, but you felt like, or I guess you do this a lot where you end up drinking a lot. It's like you go big or you go home. That's a very much George mentality set for everyone on this set.
That's so true. It's honestly, like that's a huge ego thing. Like it's just like for drinking, it's always been like go hard or go home.
Is it proving to yourself that like you're not a bitch, or proving to everyone else?
I think it's everyone. Like it's myself and like the public. Whoever I'm drinking with, it's just like, damn, you know, like, but it's just not, first of all, it's not healthy, but when I do it, I just do it, you know, like, because I never really thought about it until like now, you know, like, as of recently, I started, so I care a lot about what people think about me, right? Mm-hmm. And I realize that affects like my day-to-day decisions. It's like weird. Like how integrated, how much I care about people. Like, let me give you like it's pretty personal. Like, so I care so much about what people think about me that when I take a shit, I actually rush myself because I'm afraid that the other person will think that I'm taking up too much time in the bathroom and therefore dislike me. So I rush my shits.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I feel like you take your,
I don't take my sweet ass time in the bathroom, especially if I'm shitting and someone's like after me.
Oh.
Like, it's actually really bad. And then as of recently, where I was like, nah, dude, like I'm shitting right now. I'll take my time. There's no reason why I should rush my shit for someone else unless that person's like about to shit his pants and I'm like almost at the tail end of my shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and it really affects like your day to day. And it's really about honesty, like being honest with yourself about your capabilities and not having such high expectations about yourself and therefore having an inflated ego. You know what I'm saying, bro?
I think I partially get what you're saying, but I think the way I'm interpreting that is like, I think ego kind of still results maybe in the fact that we give too much of a shit about what other people think about us, and I feel like this is like a very recurring like topic or a statement that I make a lot in a lot of our podcasts.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of truth in that, and I think it's very hard to kind of get that out of your brain, because rooted in that, it's like almost being fine with yourself. Because if you're fine with yourself, then that's all that really matters. Yeah. It doesn't really matter what other people are thinking.
That's true.
I think that's kind of the best way to you can never fully get rid of ego, but it would help. It would get ego less in the way of you if you were able to get.
Right. So, do you feel like the counter to ego is humility?
Humility in what regard?
As in, like, having the ability to be like, hey, I'm actually not the shit. Like, I'm not actually like I'm just like you think. Like, just having the ability to kind of take it back and be like, hey, I'm just like a tiny speck on a planet spinning like 1,000,000 miles per hour in a huge ass universe. Like, I'm actually not really anything. So ability to put that in perspective, and in some ways, like, you are the center of the world because you only know truly your own perspective.
Your own perspective, yeah.
But if you want to be real, like, you're just a piece of shit. Not literally. You're an organism, like, on a planet among many planets in one solar system, among a galaxy, among a universe. Like, you're really nothing if you think about it. But our desire to have like self-worth and meaning, like, it's just this constant battle between having self-worth and being almost worthless. You know?
No, I think that makes sense. I think so. I guess now that you present that idea, I think there's multiple different solutions to ego, right? The one solution I presented was the fact that, like, you give less of a shit about what other people think about you because you're more rooted in who you are as a person. Yeah. The second aspect is what you're saying is I've also heard this argument where, like, we're a very small speck in the world where, like, why the fuck do we need to feel that great about ourselves? Like, we're one out of like 1 trillion billion people, like, or like things in the world. Like, why the fuck does that matter?
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a very interesting point to bring up.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like, this is important to me because
it influences your health.
No, it's not. It's not just health, but it's like, because like, I don't want to, like, there's like who you want to be. I like how we're just changing positions. Like,
well, I mean, it hurts. We're also on a downward slope.
We're like almost spooning if you came a little bit closer. No, but it's like, because I don't like, you can almost like see yourself becoming a certain person if you were to persist in having a huge ego. You know, like, you can become, like, we know people. We are like, I can admit that I have a pretty big ego. You know, like, I know what it's like, and it's not very. There's not a lot of freedom to that because you're always like kind of stuck up. You're kind of like you have to put it on the front. It's acting, it's pretending, it's not authentic, and it's tiring. But when you're just like, fuck it, I kind of suck. Like, that's just like being able to say that and be able to be honest. Like, that's, I think I'm feeling that, the high from that, because there's so much freedom in like unlocking those chains of like having to put up this front and this image and that you're this perfect being, and like, it's just not true. First of all, it's not true, and second of all, it's hella tiring. And I don't know, that's why I feel strongly about this topic. Can you relate or not?
I think I can relate, but I think I still struggle with it a lot more. Yeah. I think it was really interesting when you mentioned like the shackles, right? Because like I was about it, like in my head I was thinking about the analogy that like we're almost like ego's prisoners, you know?
Yeah.
The fact that we're still constrained by it.
Okay.
And we let it guide ourselves in ways that it shouldn't.
Yeah. Like, that's why it's, first of all, like, I think it ties, if you want to bring it back to where your ego may stem from, it's kind of like what you define as like successful or define as valuable, right?
Yeah.
So like, whether it's money, status, or like different collectibles that you can have in your life, like, that's kind of defines what you see as like important. Like, that guy has guys, girls, that person has money, you know, and that's kind of like what you kind of pursue, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of wondering like what your definition of like, what do you like, what is your like ideal like image of who you want to be, and like, because that's reflective of who your ego is is that person, right? Like, or am I just like distorting it? Like, who is,
because like originally our point earlier was that like ego is basically like this encompassing of the idea that you have like an ideal vision of yourself, right?
Yeah.
And then like if you're trying to act up front to try to get there, even though you're not there theoretically.
Yeah.
So your question to me is like, what is like not ego, but what is my ideal vision of myself?
Yeah, I say that because it affects your judgment on.
Oh no, I get it. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I understood that question correctly. I think for me, it's I think I like to think of myself as a very good, kinded person. That's like very much respected by every one of my peers, like people that find me very important to their lives.
Yeah.
And someone who's like intelligent but also witty at the same time. I mean, I think I'm thinking of like characteristics, like personality traits that I want people to think me by. I can't think there's I don't know if there's a certain movie star.
James Bond, he's pretty witty and like attractive.
That's like too suave. That's too unrealistic. You know, I'm not trying to be a secret agent.
Well, the person you described sounds pretty suave.
It's like no, the perfect person that I see myself is like good attributes of everyone in the world. You know, like my mom was like
Jesus?
a very not like I don't know. I'm not that religious, but like my example is like my mom is like a very considerate person. Right, for her, it was like on her tombstone it said, "You gave so much but asked for so little." You know, that says a lot about a person.
Like you're like. You offer so much value.
You offer so much. You don't ask for anything though. You're just doing things out of kindness.
Yeah.
Or like because you think that it is the right thing to do, right? So that's one good attribute about her. But of course, there's other attributes about her that, at the time when I was younger, I wasn't the most fond of. You know, too strict. You know, things like that. But then my dad was very good because he's very charismatic. He's very a go-getter. But there's other things about my dad that I'm not like super appreciative of as well. Yeah. But to me, like an ideal person is like when I grab all these ideal attributes of everyone else in the world that I know of that I really admire, and I consolidate that. Like that's kind of my ideal vision of myself. Okay. But that's like almost impossible to get to. Like, how do you encompass every single positive attribute in the world?
I don't think it's impossible. I think it's very, very hard. But so you're saying that person, like, and what attributes? So it's like offering value, intelligent, witty, good-looking.
It's like all the positive attributes you can think about a person.
That's bullshit. Like you can't do that. Like you.
I know you can't do that. That's my point. But then like that's where it becomes broken down into like which attributes are the most important to you, right? Yeah. So like if you had to condense it down to 3 things, like when we first connected, right? We were talking about the value system.
Yeah.
So I think what I told you at the time was like, oh fuck, I don't know what mine was, but do you remember what yours was?
I remember yours actually.
You do?
I actually do. You said it was about authenticity.
Okay, I think that was one of them. I think compassion was another one. Compassion or passion?
I think it's compassion.
Compassion, yeah.
Authenticity, compassion, and I'm trying to think of the third one. I remember it's 3. I don't remember it's 4.
I think it was like the perspective on the world. Like it's like how you perceive things.
Yeah. That was what.
Is what? Yeah, you have the ultimate control over that.
You only remember authenticity. You
remember all the what?
I just remember authenticity.
Oh. Okay. Why do you remember that one the most?
I don't know.
What was yours again? I remember you had to like wrote it down like all over your house. Like you had pieces of paper.
That was weird. I like taped like it was like honesty, respect, responsibility, and kindness. No, those are TS values.
TS values.
No, it was like something along those lines. It was like 4 values, sorry.
No, it's
and then
good.
it was like honesty, respect, responsibility. It was like those 3 for sure. And then I think it was those TS values. Honestly, it was pretty on point with those. But it was like treat other people as you want to be treated. I forgot.
Isn't it fucking overwhelming though to live by all those attributes on a daily basis?
It's only 4, but I think the golden rule was always like don't. Oh, it was like one was like leave every environment in a better condition that you left it. Treat other people as you want to be treated. Honesty. One was about honesty, and I forgot. Like never start anything without having the ending in mind. Something like that. But those values to live by, and for a while I was like, I was off that path, you know. Like I stopped. It's not like I stopped following those values, but like I didn't abide by them. Like, because if you think about it, like, we're going to completely side tangent, by the way, but
that's what a normal conversation usually ends up like. That's the whole purpose of the podcast.
It comes back to ego because either you do something or you don't. It's actually like pretty binary. Like either you can do, like either you have the ability to do something right now or you don't. So like either you can drink these amount of drinks and not get fucked up, or you can't. Like,
but you can train yourself to do that.
Yeah, but in that moment you are kind of limited. You know, like either you can afford this or you can't. So it's kind of being honest with yourself and being like,
honest with yourself. Okay.
Yeah. is being honest with it, and there's like being grounded by reality, because like reality will tell you everything. Like it's like either you're this or you're not. Like it's pretty simple. Like either you need to take a shit or you don't. Either like, yeah. I don't know how the last one tied in, but like...
Yeah, I was trying to figure out the last one tied in. I'm pretty confused.
My arm's tired. Oh, fuck.
I told you, there's not that many comfortable positions like this. So sitting in a car works the best.
Alright. So switch over. Should you come to this side and I'll rest on my right side?
I don't know if that's gonna work. I've already switched like multiple sides.
Alright, hold on.
I just fucking toss my phone.
Sorry. Alright,
Then we're not even really facing each other. Then. It looks like we're just cuddling. Okay, wow, this. I think now's a good time to recap the whole podcast.
I think we reached a good place.
I think so too.
Okay, so. So this week's topic was on ego, and what was our like conclusion?
That's the point. Yeah. Now this is the part where we not just. It's not the recap, but it's like what came out of this conversation.
For
That's
me,
how I phrase it.
I'll just speak from what I can say.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
So, like,
that's the whole point.
Like for me, it's kind of about like I want to be more honest with myself, and so I want to like if I can't do something, I think it's important. Like I want to say I can't do it. I don't have the ability. I don't want to put up a front anymore. I don't want to be like
someone that you're not.
Yeah, because what happens is like it bites you in the butt. Like you're just like, oh yeah, I can do that, and then you can't do it, and then there's like, what the fuck? Like you just told me you could. Like so it's like, it's better to have lower. Isn't it better to have lower expectations and be like, hey, I think I can do it. This is what I can do, and just be real with myself and be honest with myself. Because like I can see myself coming up with a bunch of lies when I face a certain situation. Like, can you like observe yourself formulating lies before you even speak a word?
Of course. Because, yeah, of course that happens.
Yeah, so like catching myself and being like, yo, that's bullshit. Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm working on. Just being honest and
so next time I need to do my part in helping you out by calling you out and
dude, that's
like,
what
George,
I want. Alright,
so
alright, before I was actually afraid of feedback. Now I actually want people to tell me like, yo, not maliciously, but like if we're friends and I know you have my best interest in your mind for like giving me constructive criticism, I want you to call me out. I want you to like, George, like that's bullshit, man. Like don't do that because I know you, and it's like, all right, yeah, like I know I trust you, and tell me what I need to hear if I can't see it. And I want you to be brutally honest with me, because like you like, if you were to tell me something that was untruthful, that you didn't believe in, then it doesn't help anyone in the long run.
That makes sense. Yeah, you gave me shit for that last time.
Yeah. Wait, what did happen?
They didn't give me shit, but like we were at a Palo Alto, our last podcast before that, you're like, you gotta call me out on my shit, dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm not sorry about it, but like that's kind of why I did that. Like, I forgot what I said to you.
You didn't say that much. It was just like, Ryan, just next time, just call me out on my shit, dude. Like, just because I say something doesn't mean you have to agree with it. You can't just say like, okay, right.
Yeah.
Like, just say like, no, you're wrong, or like, no, or fuck you.
Wait, did I say that to you?
Hey, you said that to me last time.
Okay, yeah, all right. This is exactly what I mean. Just like, dude, just tell me, because you don't need to be nice to me, you know.
I like how this podcast went to a very deep relationship sort of thing between us.
Yeah.
Of course. So there's two things you got out of this. We got this part of it.
Wait, what's your thing?
Well, no, we gotta make sure we got yours thing down. Okay, so it's like the first part is stop putting up a fucking front, George. Like, be you. Don't try to be something that you're not.
Yeah.
And for me to call you out on shit, because I should trust our friendship enough where it's like, even George is pissed off at me, like it's not gonna ruin our friendship. You know, I'm just being honest with him.
Yeah. Like I don't think fear in any relationship should stop. Like that's just like a bad relationship. If you're afraid to tell me something, then that means you can't be yourself around me. Then it's either my fault for not giving you an environment where you can do that, or it's just like you not speaking up, which I need you to do.
It could be a personal thing for me too. It's just like I don't like people that are very close to me. Like I don't ever want to ruin it because I feel like there's no one else besides that. Like it's just too scary for me.
Dude, yeah.
I don't know. It's tough to kind of balance it.
Yeah.
Before that big boombox man comes here and gets here too loud. My takeaways from this was, I think it's the same as what I said last time. It's like trying to think less about what other people think about me.
Yeah.
And I think similar to you, like don't pull up a front. Because it's not consistent and it's tiring though. Like, why would you try to give people
so
this false
tiring.
expectation?
It's fucking like, I don't know. I was like thinking everyone's like everyone's such a great actor. Like,
the best actors in the world are yourselves.
yeah, seriously.
That's a good way to end this. I like that. We're all the best. Oh, that's gonna be a good title. We're all the best actors.
Like, you don't need to find actors. Like, people are the best actors.
But where's like more relatable? It's like, oh, we're all part of this, you know. I don't know. We'll define this later.
So
though.
we're all. So wait, actually though, we're all like part of an act because we're all acting. We're all.
So it
like,
sounds like this is a Truman Show.
it's
the movie?
so, yeah.
We're all in the movie.
But who's the main character? I don't know.
Jim Carrey.
There we go.
I haven't seen it yet, but I just know the concept of this show, of the movie.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah. So that's pretty much this week. Yeah.
And we have some good outro music from this boombox man.
Can't tell if the camera shut off or not.
No, I think it's still on. But anyways, anything else?
Nah, that's it, man.
Peace out, everyone.
All right. See you guys next week. Bye.